Tilly, 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 Tilly. She said some not so nice things about yours truly. She said some not so nice things. Apparently, I'm being sued by another bottom feeding creator. Allegedly. Being sued by another one. You can't even imagine the stupidity of that particular suit. Like over the top stupid. Dems claim to be socialists screaming about the individual, but they lie and they are fascists. I'll define fascism, believe it's inherently short sighted to measure success through the lens of the individual. Well, it depends on which metric we're looking at. I want to start smoking, but my state has 90% tax on tobacco. That sucks. Anyway, let's dive into some Tilly stuff here. I know people have been wanting to see my actual response to this, so I'll give you one today. But again, there's a formal video response coming as well. These out of control lunatic leftists.
Did you sit with Andrew Wilson? That's one thing I would disagree with you doing, which is interesting. Like maybe that's where the debate.
Now, why would Tilly, this chick who I've never met, right, don't give a shit about, never have given a shit, be sitting with Kyla to bitch about me? Why? Also, I really appreciate your work for 100 pounds. Thank you. I appreciate that. Very, very kind thing to say. And I appreciate the 100 pounds. Or is that pounds or is that euros? I can't ever.
Andrew Wilson?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I just worry immediately for your safety.
You know, the thing about this that I never really understood, the classic feminist trope of your safety is in jeopardy by having a conversation with Andrew Wilson. To my knowledge, the only people who have ever been assaulted on the Whatever podcast have been me. To my knowledge, I'm the only one who's ever been assaulted. That's it. The only one that I can recall ever having threats made against them has never been me to other people. It's always other people to me. So it's always really strange to me why it is that women like Tilly believe that somebody else's safety is in jeopardy, even though all the evidence is that it's actually my safety that's always in jeopardy. First time super chatting and viewing a live stream, praying for you and your family, Andrew. Stay close to God. Take care of your sanity while battling these crazy fucking postmodern godless somethings. Let me finish it. Godless, heathen, progressive lunatics. There you go. Thank you for the 50. If you were to have one thing made from a CNC, what would you want from a CNC machine? You know, it'd be really nice to have like a specialty gun block for a slide that had a vise on it. I know you can buy them, but I can never find one that is universal to slides. You know, that would be pretty sick. When she was accusing you, she kept looking down like she was reading it, seemed contrived to smear you. Well, the whole thing is a smear. Isn't she referring to friendly fire when fearing for her safety? Yeah, true. Women like this have just turned woman prattle into an internet hustle, completely unserious human beings. N1SB. True. True. I like how she has her. You see, notice here that her lipstick is all smeared too. I don't know what the deal is with it. Why her lipstick's all smeared. I don't know.
That moment, because of the fact that he's a rapist. Andrew Wilson's a rapist.
Oh, he is a. Is that so? She's sued. Tilly's going to get sued. Let me express one of the greatest ironies, probably currently on the internet to date. One of the greatest ironies. Unfuck America is a hodgepodge of leftist streamers and NGOs And the entirety of what it is that they do is they follow around TPUSA and followed around TPUSA in order to try to glean some of that audience for themselves. That's what they do. The head, or I would say the mascot, not the head, the mascot of this organization, the one who has the most name recognition out of all of them, is one Stephen Bunnell, also known as Destiny. Now, Destiny has been accused of impropriety by women more times than I can count. Many of them, by their own admission, mentally ill, like Anna, for instance. By their own admission. He's accused currently, right this second, as we're having this conversation, of allegedly sending out homemade porn without the consent of the person he made it with to another woman that he wanted to sleep with. Now, this guy has claimed, or at least claimed to have pledged $100,000 towards Tilly if I sue her. Now, how could it be that the mascot of the organization, which hates my guts, by the way, because I guess you could say that I'm an oppositional leader to that organization, Unfuck America, because I wreck so many of their members all the time. Because of this being the case, why is it that there's not universal condemnation towards that from the progressive, but rather the man who has not even had an allegation of impropriety? Let that sink in. It's not just a lack of an allegation of SA or inappropriate touching or any of this, crazy, sick shit that goes on in these spaces. I have never even been accused of sending an inappropriate text message. I've never even been accused of sending an inappropriate DM. I've never been accused of any impropriety by anybody ever. Not a single woman. So how could it be that I am being accused of being one of the most horrible things you can be accused of being? And yet, there's not a single accuser to even accuse me of impropriety, let alone this horrific crime. And yet, the mascot of the very organizations that these people promote has been accused of impropriety over and over again, and also of what I would consider to be a heinous moral crime. This is the ultimate irony and why I think leftists are sick fucks. They're sick fucking people. Very sick people. Women consider verbal attacks as actual violence. Yes, I know. Remember that chick who I supposedly gave Bell's palsy or whatever, who said that she felt like she was digitally essayed by me, whatever that means. She said in her own words that she had been essayed before and that it felt the exact same when she debated with me. How seriously can you take claims from a woman like that? Wasn't there a brother on whatever and the chick attempted to choke out? Well, no, that was different. That was them agreeing to do that with each other. I've never agreed to have any of these women put their hands anywhere near me, ever. I've never agreed to touch any of them. I've never agreed to go anywhere near any of them. For one thing, a lot of these are nasty fucking bitches. Okay. Nasty, nasty fucking women. I know that in person. I know I've told you this many times. In person, these women don't even look the same, right? A lot of them are just nasty. Yeah, I wouldn't want anything to do with them anyway. But I definitely don't get involved in any of the crazy intermix that you see online creators get intermixed in. I just don't do it. How do I get in online debating? I don't know. Debate people online. That's how I did it. If you want a universal vice for, yeah, I know you can get one, bro. He asked me if there's one thing I wanted from a CNC machine custom made. That's what I was saying. I hate when women speak on things they aren't educated on and the sisterhood backs them up. It makes my brain cringe. True. True. Um, isn't Kyla a therapist? That explains why mental health illnesses are trending upwards. Imagine going in and getting, I don't think she is a therapist. No. My understanding, I don't, now I could be wrong on this. Um, my understanding though is that she's a psychometrician, or as I like to put it, a psychotic magician, psychometrician. I don't actually think she is a therapist. No. How? Because false accusations are a low cost, low risk, effective means for destroying your enemies. True. Jay Tate says, except for your black ex wife. That's right. Nicholas says, blah, blah, blah. And a minority under age 16 in the U.S. Wouldn't you say the left's claim of an ever impending racist revolution makes no logistical or mathematical sense? Yes. Why does Kyla keep making a face like a claymation Rudolph character? Just saw the abominable snowman in that clip. Well, Kyla knows that this is a problem. She knows. What she immediately does here is she tries to pivot it over to platforming, but Tilly's having none of it. Tilly's going to double down because she's an idiot.
I mean, he's admitted on live streams before on his podcast that he doesn't really believe in what he understands the modern version of consent to look like.
How would that make a person the R word? How? Pointing out the logical inconsistency of saying, oh, a woman cannot pre-consent to sex but can pre-consent to surgery, even though that's the same situation of not being able to retract consent. That's a logical hole in what modern consent is that leftists have no answer for. All you have to do is go look at my recent X post where I point this out, and none of them could give an answer for it because they're fucking lunatics. They're lunatics, they're insane, and they're fucking stupid. She lost the debate. This is an attempt to shift focus from the issue, the character, and damage your credibility, perhaps. The sewing circle Christians will move mountains to say you hurt their fifis, and yet crickets when the allegations are against you. Spineless, totally spineless. So instead of sending homemade videos, Destiny is now funding Chick's legal defense as his move to get with them. I don't know if that's what the motivation is or not.
And his entire career is built upon a foundational premise that you get clicks by bullying underage girls.
Bullying underage girls? I don't, no. I guess it's possible with the amount of TikTok invasions that we've done that we may have come across an underage girl at some point without knowing it and had a conversation with them. I couldn't be 100,000% sure of that, but that would be a violation of the TikTok TOS. So if they're doing that without showing their face, there's no way that we would be able to know that. But to my knowledge, I've never even had a discussion on any of these shows with an underage girl. Ever. These YouTube lives don't show up on my list after your Rogan podcast. I have to search the channel. Weird, huh? Could just be the way your algorithm's set up. How do you further the Orthodox Church without internal debate and crowd? We're not talking about that right now, bro. Come on. I hate that Kyla said nothing to defend you. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Let's call her silly because that's how she looks. Yeah, silly Tilly. Anyway.
Or women who are underqualified to speak about political.
Women who are underqualified to speak on this. Well, I put all of the qualifications of the various 1v1 debates I've had with women in the video, which is going to be released shortly, soon. And when you match them up against me, every single one of them on paper is way more qualified than I am to be discussing these issues. So Tilly just lying out of her fucking ass again because that's all they do. Why do these people continually minimize the value of younger women simply because they got destroyed by you? The thing is like most of them aren't even younger. Like most of them are within 5, 6 years of me. Some of them are younger, but like Kyla's not that much younger than me. You know, it's like I guess to them, if you have a college degree in politics, political studies, or of some sort, that can all just be completely mitigated and dismissed based on the fact that your opponent has a few years on you. So it's like, why even go to college then? Just get old, right? Just get old.
Problems, and I'm not saying that that's you. I actually
Of course not. Not you though, Kyla.
don't think that that is you at all, and I think that he went out on a limb when he debated you, because that's not usually the type of person that he would engage with.
Funny because it's always Kyla who's ducked the debates with me, not me with her. There's never been a single instance ever where somebody has organized a debate and said, we're going to contact Not So Erudite to do this debate with you. And I've said, no, it's never happened once. Never happened once. But it happens on the other side quite a bit. Happens on the other side all the time. Kyla being like, oh, no, I don't want to debate that topic. No, I don't want to debate that. No, I don't want to debate. Nope, I don't want to debate with Andrew. Happens constantly. So I don't know what this chick is talking about. Just making it up as she goes. It's the other way around. It's always me saying, yeah, sure. What time? I'll be there. And her saying, oh, no, no, I don't want to. No, 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 no. Go full on Revolutionary War. This red coat should be begging for forgiveness. Yeah, this is what she's saying here is very problematic for sure. Yeah, 26-year-old minors. I know 30-year-old youths. Kyla doesn't even mention Agrippa's trilemma. What's going on here? I don't know. I don't know.
But like, I think that that's for the men. I think Andrew Wilson is for the men
I think that what she's doing here is just admitting that she thinks women are stupid, which I think is hilarious.
to tackle, because his audience are so. I mean, I've probably watched 20 hours or more of his podcast.
No, she hasn't. Because she thinks my podcast is the whatever podcast, which is not my podcast. And if she watched 20 hours of it, she would know it's not my podcast. 20 hours of content consumption is a lot of content consumption. What's the average episode is what, 30 minutes on TV? How many hours is the average season? Isn't the average season, if it's a half-hour show, less than 20 hours? She watched a full season of the whatever podcast and could not figure out that I was just a guest on that show. This chick is just a notoriously bad liar. I forgot to say in the last Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's.
And I've been approached before to come on whatever, and I just said no, because
Because she would get destroyed by yours truly. That's why. Because if we did a debate, Tilly would become obnoxious and irate, and it wouldn't work with me, and she would just get fucking completely annihilated. Because all feminists do, because feminists are notoriously stupid. Notoriously stupid. Legends in their own minds. But practically, they're fucking stupid. Did she just appeal to men to take you on? She did. Eek, you're challenging my worldview of young women. Ick. So do they not have agency? Should they not vote? Yeah, I know. She got approached. Yeah, Brian said, hey, why don't you come on here and I'll give you money, probably.
I don't think there's any winning, and that's yeah. So I would want you to speak to your experience of that, because
Exactly. There is no winning for you because you're an idiot. They are super selective with the topics they want to debate because deep down they know they'll get annihilated, of course. Tilly says you are for the men to tackle, so she lost the debate, slandered you all at once. Totally.
I was frankly not gonna go and sit in a room with a bunch of men who don't believe in consent. I was.
So, what this is probably one of the more confusing parts and how I know that these women are mentally ill, lunatic, sycophants, right? The whatever podcast has been running for years. Years. What does she think is going to happen? that in the middle of a studio in Santa Barbara, California, with cameras rolling and cameras surrounding the entire premises, that a bunch of men are just going to begin ravaging her? Like, how does any of this make sense? It's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. It makes 0 sense. She's so stupid that she said hours when she meant seconds. 100%. The dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh, I see Brian Shapiro in the chat. Of course you're in the chat, Brian. Why does Andrew Wilson hate women? I know, Brian. I know. The married man hates the women. The unmarried bald fuck who's been accused of horrible things by women. You're the lover of women, aren't you, Brian? The man who's never been even accused of impropriety right here is the hater of women. But you, bald golf hat wearing guy, you are the true female champion, aren't you? The champion of women, as long as they're doing what you want. Supposedly, we're missing the context that Tilly was talking about your marital grape example specifically, but I didn't see that in the convo. That's because she wasn't referencing that and likely had no idea that conversation even happened. And even if she did, that's an internal critique, not an actual position. So these people might think that they can clip farm, and maybe that will convince really stupid leftists, but it's not going to convince a jury. How long has her coat been going for? Long time. Yeah, Brian Shapiro, the champion of all women, the champion of women's rights. The fuck out of here, Brian. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Go find a victim and then come back here. How dare you weaponize the forms of rational discourse against reason itself, Andrew? I know, I'm out of control. Out of control. Back to this. Didn't Shapiro recently call a woman a lying bitch? He's called my wife horrific names, by the way. Didn't give a flying fuck about that. Didn't care about that at all, did he?
Spooked.
Yeah. It feels, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like a commentary on platforming in general. And I have
not a commentary on platforming at all. Kyler's way of trying to change the subject, but Tilly's having none of it. According to Brian Shapiro, we should believe the allegations against him with zero evidence because a woman said it. True. In this case, what's really funny is nobody's even making any allegations. They just say it anyway. That's even more ironically hilarious.
very mixed thoughts about platforming, and maybe you disagree. Maybe it is not a platforming. And so correct me. Am I misunderstanding you and saying it somewhat feels
maybe a little?
Okay.
Maybe a little, because I'm not big on the argument of you platforming, you're legitimizing these ideas. I think that that's actually a really complex and nuanced topic that people.
So it's not about platforming. It's about her just making slanderous lies about me. Zero evidence whatsoever. There's no victims anywhere. There's nobody even making any accusations. Nothing. She just made it up. She made the whole fucking thing up. She has no reason to believe it at all. Just totally made it up. Shouldn't Brian be broadcasting to his 7 billion listeners a day? Yes. Brian just needs some fish food. True. Go home, Brian. You didn't even understand the simple concepts Dyer was trying to explain to you. How should I expect you to understand any of this? Come on, man. Brian will just tell you you're not smarter than me. You're not smarter than me. Man, you're not smarter than me.
People slap a big thought terminating cliche on you're legitimizing, you're doing this. I was genuinely just worried that a woman was engaging in the debate.
So what? Women engage in debates all the fucking time, including my wife. Why is this a dangerous act? How many assault via debates has there been? Like none. Principal Skinner, thank you for the 20. Very kind of you.
I think that in this instance, when it comes to men like this, it should be a man who engages in that particular debate.
How very sexist and misogynistic of Tilly.
And also, I was literally worried for your physical safety.
Worried for the physical safety? Well, let me tell you a story. Kyla was so unconcerned about her physical safety that before the debate started, she walked into the studio with a case of beer for yours truly. Full 12 pack, by the way. It wasn't even like a 6 pack. She brought in a full 12 pack of beer. How could I possibly be expected to control myself while I'm drinking beer? Surely this was a lapse of judgment on Kyla's part. Brian, you got ratioed on your channel after dropping that Dyer debate, but I give you props for posting the whole thing. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, she brought a case of beer. I guess Kyla must not have been particularly concerned about getting the R word drunk and worrying about uh, not being able to control himself and just ravaging her on camera for tens of thousands to see live. People are so fucking crazy, it's hard to keep up with it. They're so fucking crazy, it's actually difficult for me to keep up with the insane things they say.
Safety. I'm worried for the physical safety of the women who go in person.
Why? Why? What? On what merits? What merits? Who's like what? Whose physical safety's in jeopardy? Like, what are you talking about? I still can't get pasted this the blonde. I don't even hear what she's saying. All I'm thinking is okay, whatever, bro.
Into these podcast environments, I've heard horror stories of them forcing you to film for 8-9 hours and then promising you reimbursement, but then they're dragging out and
You know, how do you contradict yourself in the same sentence? You're being forced to do this thing under the promise of compensation. Well, I'm pretty sure only one of those would be true. Are you being forced to do it, or are you being promised compensation and that's why you're doing it? Like which one is it? Strange she's so concerned about physical safety and she's watched 20 hours of your debates. Yeah, that's just fucking crazy to me.
dragging out the debate until they get until they're satisfied, and only then will they reimburse you. And people have been stranded out in the desert trying to get back home
Yeah, sure they have.
because of like I've heard horror stories from so many women. Obviously, I'm not going to put them on blast here.
Obviously, I'm not going to tell you who the women are who are poisoning the well in the background because there might be more to the story and then these people could actually defend themselves. Got it. Andrew, you lying dummy. There was an SA victim in a debate and it was you. I know. Never forget, dare say. That would be, what's her name? Desiree? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. She did. She SA'd me live. She came over without my consent, hiked up her dress, and attempted to rub her genitalia on my person. That happened without my consent. Don't remember any feminist taking my part there. Don't remember any feminist saying anything about my safety. What if, it's probably true, Desiree was so aroused that when she backed up to me, she slimed my arm. I could have gotten Desiree's, okay? And that would have been bad.
But women who've spoken to me personally about their experiences, and none of them have been good.
Oh my God, none of my experiences have been good. What does it have to do with the R word? Nothing. That has nothing to do with the R word. Andrew Wilson is he's an R word. Wish I could say it on YouTube. R word sounds fucking stupid. He's the R word. What makes him the R word? Well, there's women on the podcast who they don't get paid unless they actually make good on their contract, and some of them have been stranded in the desert. What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with fucking anything? Deserades, I spit out my coffee. Look, I'm a funny fucking guy. What do you want me to say? There's a reason I'm a world-class entertainer. And humble, the most humble. Okay. Yeah, she's going to get her ectoplasm all over me.
So that was, I disagreed with you going because I was just thinking, oh, what is she doing?
Oh my God, what is she doing? Oh, look at Kyla. Oh. If you're wondering, so look, a lot of you have asked about why didn't Kyla give greater pushback? Why didn't she? Well, I'll explain it to you so that you understand. They would just say that you're a guy, so it doesn't affect you as much. Probably. You traumatized the whole chat with that the ectoplasm comment. Fair. Brian Shapiro is so stupid he can't even comprehend the questions being asked. I don't know why you would waste your time in the chat sending any super chats about Brian Shapiro. He's a completely irrelevant idiot. Totally fucking irrelevant. And by the way, nothing hurts his feelings more than letting him know that. But anyway, back to this. Back to Kyla. If you're wondering why it is that she didn't get pushback, you're wondering, like, right now, this video is stopped. And you can see this is Kyla's own chat saying, this guy says, Andrew is an awful person, and I'm glad she's calling that piece of shit out. For what, though? What's my high crime here? Nothing. Right? Kyla is never going to do serious or significant pushback against accusations towards me about anything. And I don't know why you would expect her to. Ever. Anytime Kyla has been presented with any sort of moral dynamic where the choice is her actual Christian beliefs, which I'm not sure she even has because she constantly contradicts them by saying that they're not found, they have no foundation due to Agrippa's trilemma, which is hilarious. Or materialism, whenever she has that dialectic in front of her between a materialist gain or her own ethical purview, she almost always universally makes the wrong choice. Basically, every single time. I've never seen Kyla make a good moral decision, not even one time. Not once. That's why I've never had any respect for her at all. Ever. Never had the slightest bit of respect for her. Never thought well of her. Never thought highly of her. Never thought she was anywhere near my level. Never thought it. Not even for a second. I've just never seen her when there is a moral decision to be made. I've never seen her make a good one. Ever. When it came to her business relationship with Destiny, she knew exactly what Destiny was and she didn't care. You know, she was going to fix him or whatever the fuck is inside of her crazy brain. Okay. But she knew what he was and she didn't care because of, well, I want that, all that material gain of bridges. I want to be famous and be on bridges. And this guy is a way to skyrocket me to fame. So I'll look past every single one of his horrific moral failings that I actually believe are terrible, like the fact that he married a woman, was in an open relationship with her. That should be against Kyla's ethics, but apparently she can see past that. The fact that she knows for sure that Destiny often uses his position, at least allegedly, as a casting couch so that he can utilize his position as a famous content creator to leverage women for sex, which he's done, who are often mentally ill. Again, this is alleged. These are the accusations against him, but it's not like there's no evidence for it. When it came to the fact that he was being accused by Pixie, literally being accused by Pixie of basically handing out her sex tape to another woman who he was trying to spark a romantic fling up with. Kyla was accused by many content creators of going behind the scenes and trying to hush all of that up. That's what she was literally accused of doing that. She has zero moral integrity. None. and never has, ever. That's why when people are like, well, why didn't you expect her to do more? It's like, why would I ever expect her to do anything? Was there a choice here which could lead to material benefit over doing the right thing? Because I already know what choice Kyla's always going to make. Oh, every single time. She'll always make the choice for material gain over moral integrity or doing the right thing. Every fucking time. I'm a new fan. Just want to say thank you, brother. Appreciate that. It's very kind of you. That's why I just don't understand, you know? I just don't understand why it is that people want so badly to just be like, why isn't there a big call out for Kyla here? What call out? What call out do you give a person who has spurious moral intentions and always chooses for the left wing materialism over the entrenchment of the very faith that they espouse? Kyla spent an entire debate with me telling me that Christianity, from her view, had no foundationalism whatsoever. And when we got to things which she considered to be materially true, even though they were metaphysical concepts, she had no answer. None. She said, they're true because I believe them. That's it. Completely antithetical to Christianity and Christian ethics. It was fucking one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen a person to admit. The chick is a contradiction machine. She's always been a contradiction machine. She can never reconcile the dualism. She holds dualistic ethics in her head. She wants badly to be recognized as an academic and gain the respect of secular ethicists across the board. But at the same time, she wants to be accepted by Christians who follow Christian ethics. And it's like these things come in conflict too much. The idea that she doesn't believe, she believes that her own view just reduces to dogma. And since it reduces to dogma, it's unjustified, completely antithetical to the Christian view. Totally antithetical. I asked her if the laws of logic exist. Yes, absolutely. Then she says, no, well, it's dependent on my mind. Well, no, it's not dependent. It's just a contradiction machine. And it's like, no. So, forgetting the debate for a second, regardless of how you think she did or didn't do there, which not good, but um, she's never, I've never seen her make the right choice once. Not saying that behind the scenes, maybe she does, I guess, but the only things that I've heard from behind the scenes that she does allegedly is try to hush up women who have legitimate gripes about having their sex tapes given to other women. Epstein and Kyla, yeah, that's what they called her. They called her Kyla Maxwell. First time on a live since having my second daughter, doing my part, got 2 under 2 going out to produce the left, N1SB. Moral integrity can't be justified, just assumed. That's right. This is how the left will destroy itself. Those accusations could be fake, but the damage is done. No loyalty amounts. Yeah, there is no loyalty. She actually won? No, she didn't win. She reduced her own ethical system to nothing, which means that she has no grounds in which to criticize mine. And then she admitted that. It was likely one of the simplest debates that I've ever done in my life. I'm absolutely fine with you reducing my ethical system to preference as long as you're reducing your own to preference too. If it's all just stance dependent, then you've got no grounds from which to make a criticism. Keep up the fight, will do. By the way, I don't even know. Perhaps one of the most bizarre debate tactics I've come across is why it is that she wanted to get into the trilemma when she doesn't even understand what it is. She's talking about why you need to have grounding, which I brought up in the debate. Not that nothing can be grounded. It's just she didn't even understand it. She was reached out to by the Phil Bros. They tried to correct her. She doesn't care. She knows everything. You know, she knows fucking everything. So dumb. People are so fucking dumb. Why did she bring you a 12-pack of beer? She's sucking up. Kyla's always wanted me to have respect for her. Always. She'll never admit it. Ever. Like, ever. But she's always wanted it. She's always wanted me to have respect for her. She's always wanted Rachel to have respect for her, but I've never had any. Ever. She's never done anything respectable. Ever. Not that I've seen. Never done a single thing respectable. Never made a good ethical decision in her entire online career, as far as I've seen. Ever. And so when people are like, why is it that you, don't you think she should have defended you more? That would have been doing the right thing. That would have been doing the correct thing. The correct thing would have been like, you don't get to come on here and call people that I personally know aren't this thing, you fucking bitch, get the fuck out of here. That would have shown some actual moral integrity and some backbone. No fucking way. You're asking for way too much from an immoral troglodyte who has no ethical foundations, reduces them all to gibberish so that the secular leftists will like her better. She needs them to like her better. Someone who spent many years believing I was morally superior while actually being extremely selfish, materialistic, and hedonistic. I could see right through Kyla's facade. Glad I found God in 1SB. Yep. Yeah, she got, well, I refuted her entire argument in 5 seconds. I asked her if there was any, we were getting into it about Agrippa's trilemma, and I refuted in like 15 seconds. That no position has any foundation. And I said, does that position have any foundation? No. So is that position true? She said no. And I said, okay, well, then that's the end of that. And she said, oh, why are you running? I'm like, what are you talking about? If it's just refuted, it's self-refuting, you idiot. Have a drink on me. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Appreciate that. Yeah. That's it. Brian even brought up the definition. It doesn't matter. You can define things, right? You can do whatever. I don't even care about that. I wouldn't even give a shit if the chick just drubbed me in a debate or vice versa. It has nothing to do with anything ultimately. People are going to lose debates, they're going to win debates. It's irrelevant. Totally irrelevant. What is relevant is that any single time there has been a moral choice for this chick to fucking make, she makes the wrong fucking one. Every single time, without fail. Somebody tell me a good choice that this chick has ever made in her online career when there was any kind of moral decision to be made, which was not self-serving, but actually could have hurt her. Oh, there's a choice, and I'm going to do the thing that's not completely self-serving and may even hurt me with my fans and base and things like that. Name one. It's never happened. Don't know what a troglodyte is, like a cave dweller. What is the SB people keep posting in one SB? It means not one step back. Yay, I've been going stir crazy being stuck home, happy for some good entertainment. Well, entertainment is what you shall get. Wasn't she mad at you when she left? She was very pissed. No, she did shake my hand, but she did it like this. She wouldn't look at me and put her hand behind her to shake my hand. Okay, whatever. She was pissed off because apparently it's bad faith of me Do not let her be bad faith and derail. Once she decided she's going to derail a conversation on Christian nationalism into foundationalism and then refute her own foundations for it, that I wasn't going to just like let her get away with that. Apparently, that's bad faith. Apparently, I'm supposed to solve Agrippa's trilemma, this thing which is self refuting, even though I solved it in 15 seconds when she asked me about it, but whatever. The problem is it's hard to have a conversation with an intelligent person whose views oppose yours. It's impossible to have a conversation with an unintelligent person whose views oppose yours and it has no moral or factual foundation. True. Are you going to continue the video when I feel like it? I am going to ban you from the chat, though. I hope you enjoyed your 15 seconds of fame. We saw how much indeed she wanted you to respect her. She was giddy the fact that you simply had some notes prepared for her. Yeah. I have respect for people who have the integrity to defend even their enemies from the unjust accusations. I've seen Carl Benjamin, Steven Crowder do this several times, and I've never seen a leftist do it. Yeah, that's the thing, right? If the roles were reversed, if they were reversed, I would have taken the person who was making the accusation against Kyla to task. I said, wait a fucking second. What are you talking about? I would have said, what are you fucking talking about? Well, just timed out. It's just good for him. It's good for him to get timed out every now and again. Don't try to fucking derail me when I'm in the middle of an excellent rant, you little prick. Anyway. So that's the thing, right? It's like there is no anytime I've ever seen there be a materialist choice or a non-materialist choice which would have some integrity involved in it inside of any dilemma that Kyla has ever done. Are you going to debate her again after this? I would have fucking debated with her the next day. I don't give a fuck. Her view is, to me, is a nonsense view, which is easy to refute. And it's just followed by spurging. Great entertainment for me to go on and wreck Kyla. I've been doing it for years. Years I've been wrecking this chick. But it has no bearing at all on what we're discussing right now. Who cares about debate this or debate that? What I'm saying directly is that I've just never seen her make a good moral choice once in the entire history of her online career. Ever. And so I have zero expectations. Andrew, the angel macaroni came to me in a dream and told me to give you money. Fair. Fair. If you spam the fucking chat with that shit, it's nothing. You're going to get banned like it's something. You can say what you want, but don't spam my chat. Never, ever. Exactly. Never once. I've seen Andrew be so charitable to these women streamers and they just turn on him. Kyla, Grace, Sarah, the list goes on and on. Always. That's why me not following my own rule of working with female content creators was a huge mistake and one I'll never repeat. Ever. These people only engaged in scripture to use it against Christians for being mean and defend their sin. True. She didn't take the unlikable comment too well. Well, look, I always know when Kyla decides that she's going to move into bad faith mode, right? I always know exactly how you can beat her every single time. You just attack her ego. That's it. The woman's ego is the size of the fucking Death Star. And you don't even really have to attack it much. You just poke and prod a little bit, and she'll do the rest. She can't help herself. She didn't take the unlikable comment too well. Do you think that's why she didn't defend you with Tilly? Nope. That's not why. One of the things, if Kyla ever showed an ounce of moral integrity about any fucking issue ever, I'd be one of her most adamant supporters, whether she was a leftist or not. I'd at least be able to be like, you know what, though? Kyla usually does the right thing. I could at least say that. I could at least say, for all of her failings and her stupid worldview and shit like that, The one thing you can always give Kyla is that she does the right thing. But I can't say that. Fact's the opposite. The one thing you could say about Kyla is she almost always universally does the fucking wrong thing. It's like, so at what point am I going to have expectations that these people ever do any, take any moral action instead of just pure self-serving materialism? Just basically never. I'm just never going to have that expectation because they never are going to. I never have to be disappointed. I never have to be disappointed ever at the decisions that they make because I already know that if it's a choice between materialistic gain or doing the right thing based on your integrity, your actual moral foundations, I always know which decision they're going to make. I understand I've seen her on videos for years and never had a good take in the Christian worldview, never once. I check on Sarah Tomato every now and again. Since I unsubscribed, 10 viewers a stream must drive her insane. People do this shit to themselves and then blame me for it. Drove me insane that her argument for why Christians can't hold power is that Jesus didn't accept a kingdom provided by literal Satan. And then she didn't even understand what the passage was about. I had to point it out to her. She didn't understand the reconciliation in Acts. Doesn't know anything. She heard about the Beatitudes last week. So she hammered a few of her callers on Beatitudes. She doesn't even understand what those are either. She's a fucking idiot. Fucking moron. And not just again, I don't even care about that. Be a fucking moron or be somebody I think is stupid. I don't even care. I can deal with that. But for the love of all that is good, can you just make a fucking right choice every once in a while? Like you would think that you would just make it by accident at this point. Like, how do you make so many wrong fucking moral decisions? You would think that you just accidentally made the right choice at some point. Oops, I accidentally made the right decision. Oops. That's how many bad choices this chick has made. The Beatitudes? No. I thought it was called Beatitudes too, but I was corrected on that actually. So apparently they are actually referenced as Beatitudes. Don't ask me. But anyway, that's what I would think. I would think that just by accident, she would just accidentally make the right choice every once in a while. Nope. Nope. Sure as shit. If there's a wrong choice to be made, she's your girl. Lifelong atheist here. I'm currently being converted by the power of logic. I always had a nagging worry. At their base, my morals were completely subjective. Thanks for your help. You're welcome. You're wasting my time. It's my time to waste. Your time is my time to waste, which is why you're here and I'm not wherever you are. All I know is that if I had to hear Kyla say the words Agrippa Trilemma anymore, I was going to eat. Yeah, I understand that. So let's play a little game here. Play a game for the Kyla supporters in the chat, of which I'm sure there's very few because she has basically no support anywhere online anymore. Tell me the thing when there was actually a moral choice to be made, a split between material conditions and actual moral integrity. When did Kyla take the moral route? Can somebody give me even a single example? The Advocate actually came out and defended you, even though she's a feminist and doesn't like you. I guess I was wrong about leftists not defending their enemies. It's just exceedingly rare. She wasn't really defending me as much as she was hating on the women. That's what I think, but whatever. You can see the quartering threatened to debate Candace. About time someone steps up and put her in her place. I would debate with Candace Owens, but she'd never debate with me because she would lose. This is a trick question because she never has. Yeah, exactly. Woman, bring me some coffee. The beer. The beer was the greatest moral decision she ever made. There's just never, never once. I've watched her in the space for like 4 years. I think closer to 5 than 4 even. I haven't heard you say much about him, but would you ever work with Alex Jones or go on a show? Sure, of course I'd go on Alex's show. The guy's a legend. You don't have to agree with everything a person says to go on their show and give your take. By the way, I just met him recently. I was over there doing a show with Harrison, who I do like. Does she even have substantial material offered to her where someone could at least justify it to some extent? Nope. You had a show she was doing with Destiny called Bridges, which was the most boring fucking shit you ever saw in your life. The entire attempt was Destiny attempting to be the new Joe Rogan, yet with a female host for reasons nobody understands. But that was what he was trying to do. I'm going to get on, leftist and people like this, and we're going to do the Rogan thing where I just ask some questions and we kind of talk in depth about your view and this and that. The problem is he ain't no fucking Rogan. They never understood the pulse of people and what drives them. They never understood that you have to appeal to people who are in the main street, and those are average individuals. These are not people who have tons and tons of time to research every issue. These are not people who have the luxury of being able to spend but maybe an hour or two, or sometimes only 3 or 4 per week on politics and what's going on in the world. And so for most people, the construction of conversation is a better way to move ideas in and out. They wanted to do this, but they don't have the necessary charisma. Why do you think Destiny hates Rogan so much and is always seething about him? They tried to be left wing Joe Rogan, and he couldn't do it because he can't appeal to that audience. There is no appeal. What is the fucking appeal? The whole fucking main street looks at this guy and is like, you let other men fuck your wife, bro. What appeal is there? You're not going to get Joe Schmo, the garbage truck guy, to listen to you. You're letting other guys fuck your wife. Ever. Never, ever, ever. It's never going to happen. It can't be done. Frank, the fucking factory worker, is never going to respect a man who allows other men to slide their dick into their wife. And that's the end of that. These critics pretend that me being a stepfather is somehow morally the equivalent of this because they're fucking crazy and insane. I ain't sharing my wife with anybody ever. Fuck that. Fuck that. So it's like, yeah, of course. You're not going to be part of the Joe. You're not going to be the left Joe Rogan, left wing Joe Rogan. You want to know why? Because even left wing men aren't willing to share their wives. Even left wing men aren't willing to do that. All you have to do is beat Candace in a debate, is not to give her answers to all of her questions and or give her answers she doesn't want to hear. Fair. All right. Goodbye. It's nothing. You're going to get banned now. I told you not to spam my fucking chat. You're just gone forever. Don't spam my fucking chat. It drives me nuts. Now, you can get upsetty spaghetti about what I just said. You can think it's a personal attack, what I just said. None of it's any of that. What I just said is grounded in pure logic and reason. In the main street, United States, the average Joe is barely getting by. They're moving paycheck to paycheck. That's it. And usually they look at it as them and their wife and kids against the world because nobody's coming to help them with anything. They know it. The one last sense of community they even have is through the church. That's it. They know nobody's coming to help them. That's one of the reasons I think I do as well as I do, is because I'm one of the few who's fighting on behalf of that side, because that's where I came from.
I bet those glasses make you see better.